So here at Microport, yeah, just waiting for Kash, and we're going to get onto it, see what's going on at Microport. It's an impressive campus. It's absolutely massive. So looking forward to seeing everything that they do here. First time I've been to a campus as well where they actually have their own hotel, and I mean their own hotel. I don't mean a chain that's got an affiliation. It's their own hotel. Pretty cool. Ah, there we go, you see.
Hey,
in reception.
Welcome to Shanghai.
There you go. We are here in the Microport main entrance. We're going to go and have a good tour in a bit. And we're going to catch up later as well and talk a little bit about Microport and MedBot and Toumai.
Absolutely.
And we can see here, this is the Microport world map, and it is pretty impressive, the scale of the operation of Microport. And I want to bring your attention to this. Product usage is 1 per every 5 seconds. This is not a startup. This is not a small company. This is a massive corporation. And people need to take it extremely seriously.
This is the campus that we have here in our Shanghai headquarters, where we have a number of buildings. The main office building we're going to head to in a moment is the tower block we see over there. And I think I'll show you the gym. We have a gym that's the entire 5th floor, which is not to be missed. We have a lot of engineering works going on here and development, as well as these other buildings. But what is really good here, on the campus, we have several restaurants. We have a canteen, we have a hairdresser, we also have a pet shop, several coffee shops, including a Starbucks, and of course I mentioned the gym. So when you're here, there's little reason to leave.
Are you saying I need a haircut? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah.
You just have to see this all of the lights around.
Yeah, it's impressive. It is an impressive campus. And if you're going to have a mission and vision, make sure that you stick it in a giant concrete book. Or Microport. So Kash, brilliant to be here in China, come all the way to the Microport campus, as I've discovered that it's a massive corporate campus.
It is, and Steve, thank you so much for making the journey out here, this journey of discovery, really, to come and see the corporation. So welcome to Microport and MedBot headquarters here in Shanghai. But I think, as you've seen, we are a global corporation.
Massive, you know, and as part of the video, hopefully I'm going to show a lot of the campus and what's going on here. What's the relationship between Microport and MedBot?
So they're essentially two companies. They're both floated on stock markets, public. And Microport was always a big investor and supporter of MedBot when they started up. They have two separate CEOs. There's Dr. Chang, who is the CEO of Microport and set it up originally, and we have also Mr. Jonathan Chen, who is also now co-CEO at the moment. And then on the MedBot side, you have Dr. Alex He, who set up MedBot and received a lot of early investment from Microport to set up the company, and in 10 years has driven the robotic division from a startup to the organization that we see today, with multiple robotic platforms in orthopedics, in soft tissue, and various other areas as well.
Absolute pleasure to be here. Thank you very much for the invite to come and see you in these days. And I've been so impressed with everything that you guys have done here. It's amazing. So thank you very, very much. What I'd like to ask you really is, where do you see the future of surgical robotics, and where do you see Microport and MedBot within that future of robotics?
We're glad to have you here. I'm excited to share our experience and what we are doing to you. Surgical robot is a very exciting career for us. We have worked on this for quite a long time. As for myself, already working on this 18 years.
Wow.
So, and I'm very glad to see that right now the product or innovation have begun to get mature and accelerated. So you can see we already have several robots actually launched in different areas, abdominal, orthopedic, cardio, and percutaneous robot. So I mean, what we can see is that the innovation of surgical robot is happening in almost all this kind of area of surgery. So MedBot side, the good thing is that we work with surgeons to innovation together, work with them closely using our underlying technology, promote surgical robot innovation in different areas, and we make the product get mature and use that for clinical application. And not just in China, also internationally. And also we can see that with this innovation, we can promote kind of telesurgery, this kind of other very innovative technology for clinical and mature. So that is a very exciting experience.
I think it's really exciting that you're outside of China now. You're in Europe, you're in Latin America.
Yeah.
And I think that's been really good to see that there's alternatives and choices out in the marketplace. I think one thing you mentioned there, which I think you're probably one of the most known companies for, is telesurgery. And how important is that for you within China, but also outside of China? How much is that an important part of your strategy, the telesurgery?
Telesurgery is kind of one of the most important strategies for our innovation. Originally, we developed this robot for China market because we can see that the whole Chinese medical service system is undergoing severe problem. Mm-hmm. That local hospitals do not have the ability to perform complicated surgery, and the patient move to big cities, hospital get crowded, and the local hospital kind of lost patient and a good surgeon. And that is the biggest headache for developing country like China. And the interesting is that we begin to enter into the international market, and we realize that for lots of other emerging countries, their problem is even more severe compared to China, because in China at least we find a good surgeon in Shanghai, Beijing. Yeah. So, and also good thing to say that I want to say that the technology is beyond our expectation. Originally, we think that we should perform telesurgery around several thousand kilometers, but right now we can perform like 12,000 kilometers cross country, cross continent, and that will reshape the whole surgical service of the world. And also, we just found we have even more advanced technology to reduce the requirement for telecom connection kind of thing. So right now we already get approved. There are only one get approved in the world, But in the meanwhile, we can see that still lots of unsolved problem from clinic side, still lots of innovation. So from MedBot side, we will still have lots of innovation and investment regarding telesurgery side. So that plays a very important role. And also, start from right now, we believe that telesurgery begin to enter into clinical application stage.
Yeah.
Also from not just from technical side, from political side, from service, from hospital operation side, we need to work with surgeon, with hospital, with government together to promote the technology forward.
Brilliant. Well, again, I've been really impressed. I'm really impressed with what Microport has done, MedBot, Toumai, the single port that you also have as well. So I think it's an exciting time, and congratulations again, absolutely brilliant job.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
We know there's lots of areas in medicine, in surgery, where putting a robot or let's say a computer between the physician and the patient can only add value. And I think that's what MedBot is really looking for, where they can add value by adding this digital component to surgery and medicine.
What's your role here?
So I'm responsible for the Toumai robot, which is a soft tissue robot for gynecology, urology, general surgery and thoracics, and I'm responsible for launching that in the European marketplace. So a very established, very renowned market with a lot of very important and innovative surgeons. So it's an absolute pleasure to be working in that area.
And it is CE marked, and it's on the market, and it's actually in commercial use, correct?
Correct. So we got CE mark last summer in 2024, and we had the current instruments that we sell with the robot were CE marked at the end of the year, just after Christmas. So we are fully CE marked and fully commercial in the European markets and the UK as well. Yeah.
So as I go around, one of the things I wanted to do when I come here was, there's a lot of myths and misinformation about the cheap Chinese robots.
Right.
And again, I was really keen to come here because my experience has not been that at all. Let me throw some of those things in. So one thing that people say a lot is there'll be no backup. There's no company behind it.
Well, there's a couple of things I want to talk about that, but let me take that point directly. So as head of Europe, I have set up a European organization. So we have a warehouse in Holland. We can deliver the same day or next day, which is very important when it comes to spare parts, when you need the instruments for a procedure the next day. So we have that essential infrastructure. I have a team, my own dedicated team of clinical specialists, engineers, some marketing and operations people, but also we have a network of distributors in certain countries as well. So we're very much have a European base. And then if I widen that discussion out a bit more, Microport is not just a Chinese company. We have our orthopedics division is based out of Memphis. It's the former Wright Medical. Our pacemaker division is also based in Italy. And we have cardiac and other areas based in France. So we are a global company with global headquarters around the world.
I think that was something that sort of shocked me today as I went around, and I couldn't take the camera in there, but it was into the product demo room.
Yes.
Was just the amount of product that was in there. I mean, the stents that are in, I think it was a couple of million people that the stents are in.
Yes.
I think it's one product is used every 5 seconds around the world. I mean, it's a massive corporation that's behind it. Microport is a very sizable organization. And I'm not sure if really people are that aware of Microport as the parent company.
I think that's true. I mean, when I was speaking to Microport at the beginning, I wasn't even also aware of how large they were and the quality that this company has, mainly because a lot of Chinese companies historically have remained within the Chinese market because it's so big. They, to a certain degree, didn't really have the need to go outside of their home markets. And just recently, as a lot of these companies have started to venture outside of the Chinese market, we're beginning to discover them. But when you go back, as you have now, to the company, you see this is a large corporation. You know, it's an operation in terms of quality and innovation, accountability, that rivals a J&J or a Medtronic and Edwards, those companies that you and I are very familiar with. We feel right at home here. It has the same feel about it, you know.
Yeah, it's definitely, it's been quite surprising going around here just how much of an established, 1998 I think,
yes,
corporation started.
Yes.
And you're right, the quality, the build, the attention to detail, and the other thing was, we were given a tour today,
yes,
and everything was patient first, patient first, patient first, patient first. It was like really, really impressive.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, when you go through our product portfolio, we have cardiac, we have pacemakers, we have AAA stents. We started with the cardiac stents and the neuro. We have orthopedics, and we have robotics. And when people think of Microport, they may know one or maybe two of these areas, but not all. And it comes as a big surprise even to myself when I came here.
And there's a lot of capital equipment in there as well. I mean,
yes,
besides all the robotic ranges that you have, there's also a lot of other things, cryoablation, there's imaging stacks, there's like different imaging for cardiac, there's imaging for orthopedics. You know, and I did a little bit of research before I came, but I still didn't understand just how broad this portfolio was.
It's a broad portfolio, and the company has a mission to, can we get everybody to live to 115 years, which is a great aspiration and a great driver, and drives the company in a certain direction. So it really focuses us on products that really help patients and help alleviate pain and drive longevity, and longevity is a big area. The other thing about China and the industry in China, if we broaden it out from medtech, if you look, when you travel around Shanghai, you don't hear any motorcycles because it's all electric scooters. The cars are electric. So the pace and the rate of change that the country is seeing is now being brought into their product areas, like in the medtech industry. So you can expect high innovation. And that's one thing that really attracted me to a company like Microport, was not just the number of big brains working on software and hardware, but also the speed of iteration. So the robot that sits behind us is the 9th generation of our robot in 10 years, which is pretty impressive, right? And that comes from this constant renewal, this constant drive to be better and to improve, and that's very impressive.
I think one of the things about the Toumai robot I've noticed, and I get asked quite often, how does it compare to the other robots?
Yeah.
Won't name who it is, but how does it get compared to that? I mean, that's the obvious first question, right?
Yes.
And it's clear to me that this has got very modern electronics, running gear, imaging systems, the refresh rates, everything about it is really high specification. I would say higher specification than some of the other robots. And I think that's to what you said, which is fast iteration and turnarounds means that you've always got the latest and greatest chipsets in there. Or
exactly.
So I mean, that for me has been very, very obvious here. And I don't think it's going to stop there, right?
No, this iteration is going to continue and continue at the pace that has been growing. And all different types of industry here, like the imaging technology that they have, the science around that has been developed here and enhanced here, and then is brought into the technologies like the one that you see behind us. Now, we've had a robot, 2 robots actually in Europe being used regularly on clinical cases. One hospital has already done over 100 cases in about 4 months. Another hospital is at 60. The products are reliable, they work, we can deliver the instruments as required. We have the team to back up and support. So there's everything you would expect in the ecosystem of the robot from a company, we can supply.
And I think that, again, that might surprise a lot of people, because people always say to me, oh, these are just like fly-by-night Chinese startups that are going to run out of money within a year, and you'll be left with a coat hanger at the end of it. And I think I think that's why you badgered me to come out here and see
Yes.
this a little bit, because
Exactly,
it's definitely the opposite of that.
I'm so glad you came, because with a startup, regardless of where it is in the world, there is risk.
Yeah.
As a purchaser, there is a risk. If we invest in this technology, will they still be around in 4 or 5 years' time, or even 2 years' time? This is a corporation. This is not going anywhere, right? You've seen the size of our campus, the different divisions. It's like a mini Google. Like on this campus here, we have a gym, we have a supermarket, we have a hairdresser. Not that you need one. we have restaurants, coffee, various cafes, including a Starbucks.
Yeah.
It's a company that looks after its staff. It attracts top talent, and it's a company that's really looking to go places.
Yeah, I mean, the campus is lovely. I've got to admit, the campus is lovely.
Yes.
And throughout this interview, I'll be putting all the images up of that. And the sort of the rainforest cafe thing
Yes.
downstairs is pretty amazing.
I love eating there. The food is really good.
Yeah,
as well.
So, as you are commercializing in and around Europe, give me 3 things that kind of myths that you want to bust. And I've covered some of them, but what are the other 3 sort of myths that you get now and again that you
I
want
think
to bust?
the first one has to be quality, right? That the quality is not there. Is definitely there,
Yes.
right? And we have to remember that a lot of products that we buy in Europe are made in China, right? And some like an iPhone or a Tesla, you would never look at those products and say that's low quality. Well, they're made here. So China does make high quality products, and with our robots, you get high quality products. I think the second one would be cost and price. Like, not everything that's made in China at a high quality is necessarily cheap. There is a price tag that comes with that quality. Now, we've had this discussion before, but if you want cheap, China can give you cheap. But if you want very high-end quality, yes, we can provide that, but that comes with a price tag. And that's something to consider, especially at the rate at which China has developed now. It's really a superpower.
I think on that one, again, people say to me, "Oh, I'll look at one of the cheap Chinese robots," and I keep saying, and again, this is my personal view, there's no such thing as a cheap robot, because you've got to look at the whole program over 7 years, and there's no such thing as a cheap robot. There can be advantages or the ways that you acquire it, or different commercial models that can help it, but I definitely don't believe that there is a cheap robot, and just because it comes out of China, exactly as you said, doesn't automatically make it a cheap piece of kit.
Yes, absolutely. And I think the other myth is what's happening with geopolitics at the moment, right? Is buying products from China a risk? And it's an interesting question, and it's a debate, all right? But we're in uncharted waters. In Europe, we're receiving tariffs from the US, which we would never have expected. And I think if I put my European hat on, I think Europe needs to now not be too dependent on certain parts of the world, but be open to, hey, we're going to do business with whoever is best for us, and we're going to put ourselves in a much stronger position, but not being reliant on the West and not being reliant totally on the East, but being able to pick and choose the best. So I think China and Asian countries are definitely worth doing business with and setting up those partnerships, and some of the old traditional trade routes maybe need reevaluating, right? I think we're going to be doing that over the next 2 to 3 years for sure.
Switch gears a little minute. So one of the other things I hear is that, but it's not got all the feature sets that you need. So I don't believe that either. And again, having gone around the campus and knowing what's coming a little bit in the future, I think.
Yeah. Well, like I said, this is a 9th robot in 10 years. So the rate of iteration is high. And I know that on the workbench there are certain aspects that people say, well, your robot doesn't have, for example, stapling at the moment, but it will come. These what I'm confident, and the reason why I joined this company is I know that this current robot, we will plug those gaps and we will plug them relatively quickly. And I think people will be super impressed with what we bring to the robot to plug those gaps. And the three I'm particularly thinking is ICG, stapling, and vessel sealing, right? So watch this space. But then what comes next, right? What is the next generation of the robot going to bring, and the next generation of that robot going to bring? Because the thought process, the technology that we have, and just the engineers. I mean, I think the average age here is like 35 years old.
Yeah, it's incredible walking around the campus. Yeah. It's a very young campus.
Young campus, smart young people, very highly qualified, coming up with new ideas all the time. I think what we're going to see is going to be pretty amazing and interesting, and we're going to see it in a shorter space of time. And that's what excites me about working for Microport. Yeah.
I think one thing I would say, so in my conclusion, is people should give you a shot. They should definitely come and at least speak to you and at least look at it and come and really, treat it as a very real alternative that they should look at in the market. Doesn't mean, I don't say that they should buy your robot, but I think it's definitely something that should be under consideration for anyone who's looking for a new robot.
Well, thank you for saying that. I really appreciate that. But I think, buying a robot that's not from the established players is less risky. You have to do your due diligence, but like we said, this is a large corporation. It's not going anywhere. We have a high quality product that was initially really, hey, let's supply the Chinese market. But since Microport's decided, no, let's now develop this and export it to the world, I think it's a really good option for people to consider, and I would really appreciate them when they do.
Brilliant. Well, I'm looking forward to the demos and the labs that we're going to do over the next few days.
I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised. Thank you for your time. Thank you so much again for making the journey over.
Thanks for the invite.
And of course, if there's any surgeons who want to come over and test the robot, get in touch. We're more than happy to get them to test drive.
Hey, it's Steve, and I am literally just back off the plane. I'm still all creased up and from the travel. It was a brilliant trip out to Microport in China. And I'm going to now do the review part of this because a lot of people ask me a lot of questions and I want to make sure that I answer everybody's questions. So it's going to be in three parts. This review is going to have about the company, who's behind the company, and you heard a lot from Kash and you've heard a lot from Alex, the CEO, but I want to give you my impressions of the company, having now sat for nearly a day on the plane on the way back. And then I'm going to talk about their current technology, which is the latest version of Toumai that I got to play with there that is now commercially released, which is their ninth iteration of Toumai. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the stuff that I can't show on the video. I can't talk in too much details about, but I can give you an indication of, and as Kash did, with some of the future direction of the company, which I was very, very impressed with. So let me start first of all by talking about I want to talk about the company. So it's impressive. I mean, way bigger and more corporate than I could have imagined. I thought it was going to be quite good, quite big. But it's really, really impressive. It's a proper, full-on international corporation, multi-billion corporation. Microport, I knew them from my cardiac days, but I don't think they've even geared up yet to really go outside of the Chinese market as much as you think. And then you've got MedBot within that. It's a fully massive company within Microport. It's a division. They've got their own buildings. They've got their own production facilities, which I'll talk a little bit about. Brilliant people as well. I mean, these are one thing that I really would say is they are listening. They are listening to the customers. I was there while they had a customer visit, and I watched the whole customer experience. And I would encourage any surgeons to contact Kash or contact Microport and go there and see the facility, get some of the dry demos. You'll get to see some of the next technology that's coming. Then you've got different labs that you can do afterwards, depending on what you want to do there. But you know, they've got the entire facility is there. It really is impressive. But yeah, it's a super solid corporation. So if anyone is sat there thinking, oh, well, maybe I'm not going to get one of these Chinese robots because we don't know what's behind it, you can forget that. Toumai Microport and MedBot is super solid, super massive. They're going nowhere. 27 billion market cap, $1 billion a year in revenues, one product used every 5 seconds. This is a major corporation behind this. It's easily as good as any of the big corporations you're used to with the robots, and it's definitely not some kind of small startup. They've been working on this robot for over 18 years, and that was the amazing thing. I got to see some of the history while I was there, and Alex explained it as well, the CEO, that they've been on this for over 18 years on this journey, and in the last 10 years, they've got 9 iterations of the robot out there, and each one gets better. So first part of the review was brilliant to go there. I encourage anyone to go there. Shanghai is also awesome as well, just as a good place to go. You get to go and actually spend an evening in Shanghai, which is pretty cool. But what I would say is that just don't in any way, shape or form think that this is going to be some kind of cheap second-rate company. Whatever ideas you've got in your mind about the Chinese companies, get it out of your mind. Forget it. Their level and attention to detail was absolutely amazing and brilliant and just very, very impressive. So that's number one. They also have across all international locations, they have international offices that deal with the contracting, the finance, the delivery. They have warehousing, service engineers, everything that you would expect from a large corporation they have. And they're used to doing this. This is not their first rodeo. It's clear that they have a lot of capital equipment that they've done before and some very complex capital equipment as well. So they know what they're doing. They know how to do this. So I would feel very tranquil that if you got one of these systems that you would be looked after as any corporation would look after you. So that was number one. Switch gears to number two, which is the current product that I had a chance to play with. So yeah, I sat on the latest system, which is, it just gets better and better. I've sat on now 3 generations of their Toumai. And the first one, yeah, felt okay, felt nice, felt sort of like, an XI. The generation after that felt somewhere between an XI and a DV5. I would absolutely say that this last generation I sat on the other day was, superb. The smoothness, the response time, the new imaging is absolutely unbelievable. It's gorgeous, crisp imaging. It's really good 3D. It's just everything about it is really, really good. But what it is, and this was the surgeon that was there at the time said, it just feels way less effort to use it than a current robot that they're using. He just said it just feels way more fluid, way more. I think it felt like a DV5. I've sat on both, and in terms of the fluidity, the response time, the stability of the instruments, the stability of the arms, it really felt like a Da Vinci 5, and I was super impressed. And their instruments have got way, way better. I was really pushing them to the limits to see what I could do, and I cannot say one thing bad about the current Toumai. It's just really, really good. And I got to use their advanced energy. So I used their ultrasonic. Really, really good. Their ultrasonic is it's really impressive. I think it cuts better and faster than some of the other ultrasonics on the market. So I was impressed with that. And then I had to go with their force feedback. So this was the thing that I was interested to understand is, do they have the full haptic force feedback? And the answer is not today. But what they do have is they have a set of strain gauges that pop up for any instrument. And the way they do it is they have a special trocar that's got sensors in the trocar. And you switch out the metal trocar for what looks like a plastic trocar, but it's a reusable plastic trocar. Because they want to feel the flexing and the sensors want to be able to work in it. And it gives you between 0 and 5 newtons of force, and it goes from green to orange to red as you put more and more force. And you've got a very good visual feedback of if you're putting strain and stress on the tissue, and that's whether you're grasping it too hard, or if you're pulling it too hard, or if you're pushing it too hard. The strain gauges just light up, and I think that's brilliant for people who are getting on these systems for the first time, that they have this ability to give you some kind of feedback on the amount of force you're applying to the tissue. And it's written up there exactly how many newtons of force you're putting on there. That was really, really good. So I just found it that this generation, so they've got now 2 versions. They've got like a lower version, which is like an SE version. They've got a full version that's, you get all the bells and whistles, and their software just gets better and better. We did the Telesurgery, and I've done Telesurgery now 3 times with the Toumai robot, and it always felt a little bit laggy. They've worked on some algorithms. I mean, okay, we were on their local area network, but it was literally 0 milliseconds of delay, 0. And they were showing me that they've really got that latency down. And their network is amazing. Their control room that looks after all of the telesurgical systems. And now I'm talking about all their robots are connected to this robotic hub. And you can see in real time all the telesurgery happening around the world. It's just pretty amazing, this sort of control center. And the latency is unbelievable now. I think I would say I've tried most of the systems with telesurgery. This one by far, now this version now, it just feels like the robot is right next to you. So that's pretty cool. And I think they're getting better and better with telesurgery as we go. So in terms of, is this a viable product? That was the other myth that was going to bust. And as Kash said, and it's not just the company spiel, it really is a great product. The build quality is superb. And let me talk a little bit about that. They took me down to the factory floor, and I watched the whole factory flow of them building the systems. And I think the one thing that was really striking to me was some of their test protocols that they've got and the way that they test every single system for accuracy. They've invented some new ways to test the systems, and it was really, really impressive. I mean, these things are built with care and love and attention, and it really is amazing. So you see the entire production facility of the robots there. But then this was the thing that was amazing as well. You literally turn around, and on the other side of the factory, they build all their instruments in-house. Everything is built in-house, and you are not going to believe the range of instruments that you're going to see in the next 6 to 8 months. Unbelievable. There is nobody that will be able to say that there is an instrument that another company has that they don't have. That's just not going to be there. So really, really impressive. The production facility and the care and attention to detail of making those instruments was absolutely phenomenal. Would I have one of those instruments used on me tomorrow? Yes, absolutely, 100%. No fear, no worries. They are really, really high quality. And it's the number of lives. They're already 18 lives on these, and they want to push the lives even further if they can, and as many instruments as they can. They'd like to have more and more lives on. So they are really working on behalf of the hospitals, and I felt that from everybody in the company. They're trying to bring the price per surgery down. There is nothing about that is low quality or cheap. I cannot stress that enough. It is not about low quality and cheap. This is about high quality, but making it in ways that become affordable to the users. So if you can use this for 18, 20, 30 times, that crashes the price of procedures. So when they talk about becoming an economically viable system, it's not through creating a cheap, nasty robot that sort of works. The quality is unbelievable. The inspections are unbelievable. Their attention to detail is unbelievable. And you would expect that from a company that's got a heritage in things like heart valves and heart stents. These are things that are life critical, pacemakers, ICDs. Their attention to detail is unbelievable. And how much is made in-house is also impressive. So that was the second part, was that the current product it's made together, really made well. It's really quite impressive in terms of the fabrication of it and the making of it and the attention to detail. And they're not just trying to bang out in massive volumes. This is a really good hand precision built robot, and the instruments, it was beautiful to watch the rows and rows of people in there that were assembling these by hand. And I watched them assembling instruments, and I've been to facilities all around the world. You will not get something better than that in any facility from any company around the world. It was really, really good. And it definitely was not just for show for the visiting people, the surgeons and myself. It genuinely is, that is their assembly line. I could see it. You know, I've been on enough assembly lines. I've helped to build enough assembly lines. This is not a showpiece. This is their genuine assembly. So very, very impressive. Really, really good. Have no fears about the quality. Have no fears about the attention to detail. No doubt about it. Now let me finish up with what Kash mentioned, which was ICG, stapling and advanced energy. I can't talk in details about this, but if Kash says they're coming, they are coming. And I don't mean just a copycat me too, they are coming. I had an amazing afternoon with surgeons and their head of engineering, their head of R&D, and we sat for a few hours and talked a lot of philosophy around different things, they genuinely want to know, and especially for the West, they want to know what's missing. What do we need to be viable? But not just that, they were really curious about what do people want that's next. And they were listening. This wasn't lip service. I believe that what the surgeon was saying to them, they will do. And when I talked with Kash about how that's worked in the past, several of the features that are now on the system were requests of surgeons 6 months ago. So they're working fast. And if there's one thing that I'll just get out there is their speed of iteration and turn. And I mean, the amount of investment into R&D is unbelievable. Unbelievable. They need new instruments, they're going to get new instruments. And the instruments are gorgeous. And some of the instruments that are coming are gorgeous. They need stapling, it's coming. And it's beautiful. They need advanced energy beyond ultrasonic, it's coming. And I tell you, probably the best that I've seen in terms of design, unbelievable. So they're really not there just trying to be a Me Too copycat of anything. What they're trying to do is they're trying to say, okay, what do the clinicians need and how do they fulfill that in the best way? I saw the next generation imaging. That was also awesome. Can't talk too much about it, but have no fears that things like ICG are coming and are real. This isn't just Kash sitting in front of me and giving me a little bit of blah, blah, blah. This is genuine. It's coming and it's amazing. And the commitment from the CEO down to every single person in that company to get out what the surgeons need is absolutely mind-bending. They really are trying to do this. And this is not propaganda from me. They did not pay me to go there. They've not paid me a single penny to do any of this. I try and do these things as an independent voice. But the myths I was trying to bust was about, low quality. No, absolute rubbish. Low price. No. Oh, hello. Got a thumbs up. Low price. No, absolutely not. It's not about low price, but it's about making it economically viable through having longevity, less servicing requirements. It's about it's about having lives on instruments. It's about trying to crash the cost of the case, not just trying to crash the cost of the robot. And I loved that because I've been screaming about this for so long. There is no such thing as a cheap robot. Get that out of your heads. You shouldn't be looking at cheap robots. Cheap robots, they have to be high quality. But how do you make everything around it so the economics work better? That's the question that everyone needs to ask. They are cracking it. Yeah, and are they really future gazing about the digital ecosystem, the advanced instruments, the end effectors, the AI, the automation, the autonomy, all of these things? I feel absolutely certain that team that sat in front of me, which was a young team, and they were brilliant, and they asked the right questions, and they were not defensive, and they were not in any way They literally said, oh, great idea. Oh, yeah, we'll need to work on that. I felt there was a genuine, they don't want not invented here. What they really, really wanted, and this was a huge difference that I saw, is give us what we need to do, and then let us get on with that and provide that in the best way possible. And then we'd like to get in touch with you. And I saw it with the interaction with the surgeon. You tell us what you need, we'll go and work on it, and then we'll get in touch with you so that we can say, have we got it? Have we nailed it? And if not, we'll get it better. It's a genuine, they feel a deep responsibility to get this thing working and working well, and not just working for the local Chinese market. It really was, how do we produce, make, and invent the best thing for your market? That's what I heard with that interaction with the surgeon. It was very, very refreshing. It felt like, the old days of medtech where so this would be my summary. It's a giant corporation, but MedBot is being run with a real startup attitude. It feels like it's a startup within that corporation in terms of their mentality. But then they go and they sort of hand that into the Microbot corporate infrastructure of training, education, support, labs, production, and everything. And I think that is it's something I've been talking about for at least the last 3 or 4 years, which is how do you keep that startup feeling, listening, working fast iteration. 9 robots in less than 10 years, versions of it. That means they're listening. And what was really impressive to me was that in the 2 or 3 years that I've been interacting with the actual Toumai robot, it's night and day. And that night and day has come because they've got the startup attitude within there. Really genuinely listening, not the arrogance of, we come from one of the big universities and we know exactly what's best for people. No, they talk to the actual users. They try and work out what the need of the user is, not what the user wants, but what the need of the user is, the problem they're trying to solve. And I could see this process just in that one afternoon. It was very refreshing, very refreshing. So again, I encourage anyone who's been out there and frustrated with the companies in the last few years saying too slow, they don't come out with the right things that we need, they're not listening to us, they sort of just do us lip service and say yes, yes, yes. Go out there and spend a couple of days in Microport and MedBot and go and talk with the engineering teams and give them the things that frustrate you every day. Tell them clearly, and I guarantee you they will listen and they will incorporate things into the product, and fast. So very, very good. So it just leaves me to say, in conclusion, yep, great company, great current product, future, wow. They're not going away. They are now, in my mind, going to be on the list of people who will definitely be surviving over the next 10, 15 years. There's no doubt in my mind. They may even be taking secondary leadership position in this. And if you want an XI style boom clone, you absolutely must look at them as an alternative. And very, very impressed. So it leaves me to say thank you to Alex, the CEO. They were very kind to host me there. And again, thank you for Kash for keeping on at me, because I wasn't going to go. I kind of find it hard to get out of my room anymore. But I'm so glad that I went, even if it was for a short period, because it has definitely made me think in a different way about the Chinese robots. And I think hopefully if you watch this video, it will at least get your curiosity high enough to go and talk to them. So thanks for staying with this all the way through. I know it's a long video, but I was asked to go and do a full report on this. And hopefully I've answered the questions. And if not, put in the comments. Make sure you follow all my videos, because we've got more of these coming in the future. And if you have comments or questions, put them in and I can do some response videos, or I can answer in the comments if there's certain things you want to know more about. But again, thank you, and I hope you've enjoyed this one.